Good evening, brothers, sisters, and siblings, and welcome back to the Vibe Too Many podcast. Now without microphones. I am your host, KJ Collelo, joined as always by...
We're raw dogging the podcast right now. This is Ashton Byrne.
We're also really hoping that this microphone is not picking up my air conditioner. So last week, we talked about Toy Story. I had my own pledge, which was my way of working something into the episode for something I was already going to do. And that was I had to go support a friend. I did support a friend. In the last episode before last week, 2 weeks ago, I talked about how a friend of a Vibe Too Many, Chris Grimuglia, is having a a
Chris!
showing of two of his shorts, and I actually went to go see it. It was a lot of fun. It was at the Film Noir Theater in Brooklyn. And I gotta tell, like, that place is super fucking cool because I walked in and there was just a Toxic Avenger poster. It was the first time I have seen The Legend of Red Sleazy, too. This one of the two short films he showed off.
What'd you think?
It was great. I actually really liked it more. Chris, if you're watching this, don't take this as an insult. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. But it was a lot of fun. It had a great vibe. He also
And Bear
showed off.
Dude.
He also showed off
How
Bear
many
Dude.
stars does Bear Dude get? 5?
5
Makes
all the
sense.
time. I fucking love Bear Dude, and it was a lot of fun because we uploaded that interview, and that interview was from last year. And now the two short films he was talking about in that interview, he was showing off. Bear Dude's been out for a minute, but it was fun to see him.
That's cool.
Everyone go support Bear Dude so they can turn it into a feature. We could get the Bear Dude feature.
Please.
Today, in honor of Supergirl coming out, today, the day you're watching this, we decided, fuck Supergirl. In the interest of not watching the Supergirl movie from the 1980s, because Ashton, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's fucking terrible. We decided we don't need Supergirl. We're going to compare Supermen. We're talking about 3 different Supermen today. Now, you might be asking, there's more than 3. Why are you talking about 3? Because fuck the rest of them.
Some of them lovingly.
Honestly, most of them lovingly. The answer is we didn't want to watch every Superman project that's ever happened in 1 week. At the end of this, Ash and I, we're going to rank our favorite of the Supermen we're talking about today. We didn't feel like ranking everybody else, but Dean Cain is on the bottom.
He's always on the bottom.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Some ground rules before we start. We are going to generally talk about the movie, but that's not really what this exercise is about. We want to discuss the Superman.
Just the guys.
Just the dudes, the lads. We want to know who is the best, who is the most Superman, who do we like the most. Keeping all of that in mind, let's start all the way back in 1978 with Superman the movie, directed by Richard Donner, where we have Christopher Reeve starring as Superman. Starting on our general thoughts on the film, this film is fucking excellent, and I love it.
This film is really good.
It's also a massive mess.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 different like mini episodes stitched together.
Well, what's funny you say that is I was gonna mention on one of my Letterboxd reviews of it, I specifically said it's basically 3 short films and then a feature-length film. You have the destruction of Krypton, as it's kind of its own short film in the beginning. You have Clark's childhood, and then you have the first time you see like Superman in Metropolis, where you meet Clark Kent and he's going around saving everybody, which is kind of its own short film. And then you have the feature with all of the stuff with Lex Luthor.
It's like they took like several different of the, because I know it was also a very popular radio show. It's like they took the radio shows and just made it like a full movie.
I think like a lesser director would have kind of botched this, and it would have felt bloated, and the pacing would have been weird. But then you get Richard Donner, who's a fucking legend of the game. Richard Donner just handles this so well, and it's such a good cast. Before we talk about Christopher Reeve specifically, just a couple shout-outs on the cast. Margot Kidder, so good at this.
Oh, really?
I
think my
favorite Lois Lane. Yeah, mine too. She's so good. I like that they made her dyslexic,
the most interesting. It's important to compare the other Loises to explain why this is my favorite.
But she brings this kind of weariness to Superman's hopefulness, almost in a way that complements each other very well.
They're both really passionate about, like, doing the right thing and about what they're interested in.
Gene Hackman is a lot of fun in this, too. He plays Lex Luthor as almost a cartoon character. Like, that whole thing is just all
Oh my god,
very
much
Looney Tunes. There is one performance, however, in this that I fucking hate.
Which one?
It's Marlon Brando. He is so
of all
bad.
People.
He's so bad in this. He is who he is, which is a great actor and also the biggest pain in the ass on the planet. A guy who refused to ever learn a line, which you can 100% see him reading his lines.
In this one.
And
he is always like, Kal-El, I have a message for you. I am your father.
Also, he says Krypton wrong for the entire movie.
Krypton?
He says Krypton.
He did say Krypton.
For the entire movie, he says Krypton. Here's how bad Brando was, too. Christopher Reeve is regarded as one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And there's an interview from this movie being released where Christopher Reeve is like, yeah, Brando's a dick. He doesn't use that terminology. He uses very Christopher Reeve terminology. All right, that's enough talking about the movie. Who cares about the movie? Let's talk about Superman. Generically, what do we think? Where are we laying at with Chris Reeve's Superman?
He's good. He's really, really good.
I mean,
I really, really like him.
He's the icon, isn't he? Like, when you think Superman, you think that.
This is like the image. Everybody after this has to live up to Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, 100%. To the point where it's like when I'm reading Superman comics, I'm kind of just picturing Chris Reeve, you know?
You hear Christopher Reeve, yeah.
I mean, you just look at Christopher Reeve and you're like, yeah, that's Superman. First thing I wrote was, is his Superman too campy? And to answer my own question, no. He's not.
I don't think Superman himself isn't too campy. I think he's the perfect amount of camp.
He is a Boy Scout.
If we want to get, like, real technical, like, in the original Action Comics, he does, like, get a little bit more physical when he's fighting people. He's also fighting enemies that are a lot more realistic. I talk about the Silver Age comics specifically because after that, Comics Code Authority, after they, like, comics had to be educational, they couldn't question authority, they couldn't question the government had to be the good guys and they always had to win. We weren't getting Superman comics about how Superman fights against CEOs who are union busting. We're not getting Superman beating up a guy who beats his wife. We're not getting that who's also a Boy Scout.
Although I will say recently, if you have been reading Absolute Superman, I've only read a couple issues, he's back to that.
He is back to that. I love
He's fighting unfair labor practices. For what they're making, Superman being like this kind of campy little, like, I got him here, officer. That's perfect. That's what he is. And he never loses his goodness throughout this movie. He kind of saves himself by appealing to Tessmacher's morality by being like, you don't have to be this. And that brings us to how he plays Clark Kent, which I think has been unmatched by any other actor.
So, I think physical acting, phenomenal.
Masterclass.
There's a sketch drawing by the artist who did All-Star Superman, where they have Clark Kent and how he's physically, like, hunched over, typically, and then they have Superman, who's typically has his back straight next to each other as, like, a character design practice.
Yeah.
He's literally embodying that.
The way he plays Clark Kent makes you forget how big he is. The fact he's always the tallest and buffest guy in the room.
That being said, a lot of these movies, they have a difficulty balancing the fact that he is both human and Kryptonian. It's an immigrant narrative. He's both things at once. I feel like because he doesn't have a whole lot of relationships outside of Lois, it feels like he's more an alien. I feel like in this movie, he's either one or the other. And that's with all of these movies. To be fair, also, this was released in a time period where for scholarly work around the allegory of Superman in those early Action Comics before DC bought Superman and sort of became Truth, Justice, and the American Way, and he became military propaganda. Sort of that whole scholarly critique around Superman wasn't really widely available at the time.
No,
So
comic
it makes
books as a
sense.
whole were frowned upon.
Yes. This
It was
is
kind
still
of
a period.
insane.
This is only 20 or 30 years after the Comics Code.
Yeah. But the fact they were able to create this movie and have it being taken at least moderately seriously based on a fucking comic book. Nowadays, we take that for advantage. I feel like Christopher Reeve brings this, like, great energy to the role. He is so iconic as Superman, where he is, like, confident and cool, but he's always polite. So I would say, in conclusion, Christopher Reeve is kind of like the first gold standard of Superman.
Yeah.
He's who all the kids who were getting introduced to Superman, even me, if you go back and rewatch that interview we did with Chris, which was a year ago in a different studio, above me is a poster for Superman. So how about you surmise your views on Christopher Reeve's Superman?
I really want to give him a hug.
He looks like he gives good hugs.
He gives great hugs.
Right? You
I
feel
feel like
safe.
he's so healing.
We go through a long period where we're getting a few different Superman. There is one live-action Superman, that is Superman Returns. You might be asking why we're not reviewing that one. Well, because it's technically the same universe, and I don't feel like talking about Brandon Routh's Superman. It's whatever. And then, eventually, we start to get to the edgy times, right, of superhero media. Late 2000s, early 2010s. And we get Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder. It is Henry Cavill stepping into the cape here. This is my least favorite movie we've talked about on this channel. I fucking hate
It's
this
my
movie.
least favorite, but I don't hate it.
I hate it. It's worse.
I don't
it's
like
worse than the Mario
either.
Brothers movie. I had more fun watching the Mario Brothers.
No, I definitely had less fun watching the Mario Brothers movie.
I'd rather watch that again. I swear to fucking God. This movie
is
fundamentally does not know what it is. It is trying to be Dark Knight for
No.
Superman, which you can do. So they try to bring all of these ideas in. You get a little more in depth to the stuff on Krypton, but that's not done super well. And then you have Lois Lane finding out who Superman is, and now Lois Lane and Clark Kent are dating, even though there is zero chemistry there.
Her character, I feel like I just didn't really give a shit about.
When Margot Kidder's Lois Lane was on screen, you were excited. You're like, oh, we get more Lois Lane in this one. You're kind of it's more Lois Lane, and it's
Lois.
It's Amy fucking Adams. She's an amazing actress.
You can tell it's the director in the script.
I would love to see a movie, or I'm sure this is a comic book, but I would love to see this in a graphic novel, where it's Lois Lane using her skill as a journalist to track down who the Superman really is. I'm like, oh my god, that would be such a good movie. That's 20 minutes in this, and it's not done very well. It's mostly through montage.
No.
And then what I was saying about the performances, this movie has a few of my favorite actors in it, and they're bad. Michael Shannon is...
I will find him!
Michael Shannon is...
I love that line.
Incredible.
I love that line. No. He is funny in this. He is
But he's not supposed to be.
Here's the return of my brain rot words.
Oh,
he
boy.
is tweaking out this whole fucking movie. I kind of like it.
My thing is,
I kind of like the energy he's bringing into it. It's not good, but
Zod's not intimidating either. He's not scary. I'm like, that guy...
He's just a little goober. I kind of like that he's a little goober.
I watched him have a fucking panic attack. When he gets to Earth, he gets a fucking panic attack, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be scared of this guy? I get panic attacks. What the fuck? I don't like being too negative about movies. So let me say something good about the movie. It might be the only good thing I have, but I really like Lawrence Fishburne in it. He's kind of consistently great in everything.
He is, yes, yeah. It's like you said, like it has no idea what it is. It has
It's
no identity. It wants to be a deconstruction, but it also wants to play the typical beats of a Superman story. But you
while
can't be
still
both. You have to decide
trying to be like
which
the
one
Dark
you are.
Knight. All in all, I hate this goddamn movie. But as I said, this isn't necessarily
I'm
about the
meh about
movies.
it.
Let's get into the Superman. I still hate it.
Yeah,
I
he doesn't have the he's
he doesn't really have
physically
much. He's kind of uninteresting.
he just doesn't have the charm. He doesn't have the personality for it.
And what's funny is
And that's like most of it.
I
Like people are saying because he looks like Superman,
he
yeah,
does.
but you gotta have the personality too.
Yeah. What I will say is I think there's a world where Henry Cavill can be a great Superman.
With a better script.
I think this is solely script and directing. And I know saying that there is now a bounty on me by Zack Snyder fans, the worst fucking fans on the planet. Similar to how I asked if Chris Reeves' Superman was too campy, I asked here, is this Superman too dark? And I say no, but it still sucks.
I would also agree. I think he's also a little campy, but we don't really have enough to like emotionally invest in
I don't
him.
know that he is campy because that would be more interesting. He kind of just walks throughout this movie. There is, especially at the post Bush administration, we're in Obama's second administration, there was maybe something quite interesting to say about a darker, maybe more nihilistic, Christ-like Superman. That might have been an interesting thing to do. They just didn't execute it
You just
super
need to
well.
lean into it.
You
Lean
needed to make
into
a
it more.
choice, right? And they never did
Yes.
in this movie. They wanted everything in. I think the biggest problem with this movie is Superman has to have conflict, right? And like internal conflict is a big part of it. This Superman's conflict is just him being like, God, I'm too strong and too hot. I'm just so handsome and strong
Yeah.
that people might hate me because I'm so hot. Fuck you.
People are gonna judge me because I'm better than them genetically.
Because
Like,
I'm
yeah.
just so strong. This is like a loser's idea of what
It's
Superman
very
is.
pretentious, yeah.
The reason Superman was written isn't to write a character with, all of the powers in the world. It's to write a character about what happens if you are the most powerful being on Earth and you
But
refuse to
also
take advantage of that.
the nicest being on Earth.
Exactly. The writers were coming off, not even coming off, it was, I believe, starting during the Holocaust. They were all Jewish
Yes.
writers who were like, imagine if the
Trying to
the
break into
Ubermensch,
the publishing industry, which was basically stacked against Jewish American immigrants at the
and the thought was like, imagine if like this idea of an Ubermensch that the Nazis were not creating but selling was just a
time. Yeah.
kind human being who loved people, rather than some, I will admit, ridiculously hot guy being like, oh, I'm just so strong that people might not like me. Fuck you. That's such an uninteresting viewpoint of the character.
And you don't relate to him at
At all.
all.
No. No, you do not. I'm not that hot, man.
You don't like emotionally connect with him. You don't really emotionally connect with anyone in this fucking movie.
No. A little bit with Perry
Can
White.
we talk about the dad? Can we talk about
This is the worst father figures he has in any of these movies. Okay,
just hide yourself. You have to change who you are.
if I could go on the rant for this, if I could ISO here, there is a scene in the original Superman, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movies, when Clark Kent is disparaging himself, being like, man, I can do all of these things. Like, if I played football, I would score a touchdown every time. And his father very lovingly is like, that's what you're thinking of? You're here for a reason. You can do so much. And you're thinking about football? You can become so much more than that. And it's such a great point of that movie because it's the point where it's like you can be amazing. These powers don't have to be selfish. In this movie has the opposite of that conversation where Clark's like, "Man, I can do all of these things." And Jonathan Kent is like, "Hey, just don't. Just be normal." Like If you came out of the closet, if you told the original Pa Kent you were gay, he would be like, son, I will love you no matter what. One day you're gonna find an amazing husband. If you told this Jonathan Kent you were gay, he would give the John Mulaney's dad speech when he told him Leonard Bernstein would hide being gay, and that's where he created his best music. That's what this fucking Pa Kent would say. He would be like, son, people just don't like gay folk around here. Some people just don't respect them, so you can't show the world your gayness. And it's like, that's so reductive to the character.
Ma and Pa Kent are supposed to be the reason why Clark is as good as he is.
Exactly.
And in this one, you just don't understand.
To have this conversation be just like, oh, just don't be Superman, is such a fucking miss of both the character of Jonathan Kent and the entire Superman mythos. Whether or not Superman is hated for his actions, he has to do good in his mind. So reductive that Jonathan Kent's like, hey, maybe you should have let that bus full of children die. And then, fucking his other father figure also sucks.
Yes.
Jor-El also sucks. Because the whole thing is like, Zod is basically planning a eugenics program on Earth. And then you meet the program of Jor-El, which, by the way, is just Jor-El, so it makes his murder in the beginning of the film kind of feel like nothing. But he was like, yeah, yes. I wasn't going to do eugenics. I was going to do a little bit of eugenics, but not like a lot of eugenics. Little bit of eugenics. As a treat. He sucks
it's
too!
Still fucking eugenics.
I don't care your scale of eugenics. You're still like, we're gonna do some Krypton shit. I'm not rooting
for the eugenics against my planet.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not saying your history doesn't matter, but your history can just be history. You always have to be moving forward.
Yeah.
So the thought of like Jor-El being like a little bit of eugenics? No, let Clark move beyond Krypton. Use his past
because
of
why
Krypton
would they send him? Why would they send him to a different planet if they wanted him to stay on Krypton?
I mean, because Krypton was blowing up.
but no. Why would they move him to Earth and not just let him be on fucking Earth? It's the whole misunderstanding of the immigrant narrative.
Use your history as a way to propel yourself forward.
Yeah, because as they're sending him to, like, the planet, they're just like, yeah, these people are genetically inferior than us, and he will be a god to them.
We are sending better DNA inside of our baby. Alright, let's summarize our thoughts on Campbell Superman. Where are our thoughts here?
2 thumbs down.
Yeah, I agree. It's just uninteresting. I think Campbell could have been a great Superman.
Just needed a good script.
You know, we had to end with Superman, the precursor to Supergirl today. This is directed by James Gunn. It is David Cornswet stepping into the role. How are we feeling about the newest Superman?
I like it. I like it a lot. It's not perfect. It has the same flaws as the other two, where it kind of does the opposite, where it leans into the fact that he's human. And it's like, yes, finally we got one that he's human. He also is an alien. Like, he's also part Kryptonian.
Yeah, so my thoughts on the newest Superman. It's what we needed at that time.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, you should. This movie is the inaugural winner of the Vibiest Film of the Year award at the Vibe Too Many Awards. I like this movie quite a bit, but it is quite flawed. There is an entire subplot with the Daily Planet in this movie that just doesn't have to be here at all. They don't really do too much.
Yeah. I'm going to go into a rant a little bit. I love James Gunn. I love his work. When people talk about him as if he's Jesus Christ to superhero movies, he's not. He's not. He's not perfect. He's not perfect. I like his work. I grew up on Guardians. He's not the fucking Messiah.
Those first two Guardians movies are amazing.
They are. They are.
Third one is a movie. My last big problem with this movie is, oh my god, stop fucking spelling out everything. We get it. You're making the point that nice, being polite and caring is kind of the new punk rock. I don't disagree with that sentiment. I think that's a beautiful way to look at things. Do you need to have them say it directly to camera? You need to have everybody saying the subtext every fucking scene. Imagine, we were talking about that amazing scene in the original Superman where he goes from Superman to Clark Kent back to or Clark Kent to Superman back to Clark Kent. Imagine if when Christopher Reeve straightens up, takes off those glasses, and you see him, you see him start to question himself playing with his glasses. Imagine if he looks at his glasses and goes, "Oh man, but what if Lois only likes me because I'm Superman? And what if I'm putting her in more danger by revealing myself to her? I better not show her who I really am." That makes the scene worse, rather than just showing it.
It feels like you think the audience is stupid.
Yes, and I'm going to say something that might anger Ashton based on one of his recent Letterboxd reviews. It's the same fucking problem in The Batman when they feel the need to explain the mystery to you the whole time. And while it's still a great movie, it's still looking down on its audience. Relax. Trust your audience.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that is one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's so annoying in Superman, which is a shame because a lot of the movie is brilliant. The cast is great. This is the best Lex Luthor we've ever gotten. Oh my god.
Yes.
It's
This is Lex Luthor.
it is so homoerotic.
It is.
Which is what Superman and Lex should be. Lex hates him so much it's kind of gay. Mr. Terrific. They made Mr. Terrific interesting. That's never happened before.
Mr. Terrific is
He's
very
my
cool.
favorite part of this movie.
I like how it does not shy away from the comics.
No, it is embracing it.
Yes, I love that about a lot of the costume designs we get in the James Gunn movies.
And that kind of brings us to our thoughts on this Superman, David Cornswit's Superman. Man, he feels ripped out of the comics.
Beautiful.
He feels like
beautiful.
Exactly what he is.
Incredible job.
Which is the next step after Christopher Reeve as Superman. It's the same concept, but now it's applied to new things. The one thing I will critique about this Superman, and it's not necessarily the performance, you spend no time with Clark Kent. You're always with Superman.
No, I wish we did spend
There's
more time
one
with
scene where you see Clark Kent with everyone. I bitched so hard about the Zack Snyder father figures. This is Pa Kent, man. I like that he cries. Pa Kent cries.
Yes.
It's good to see male role models.
When it comes to Clark, he turns into a big pile of mush.
I just wrote soft Pa Kent. I love it. It's good to see your male role models cry. I'm tired of male role models being fucking nothing people.
There is also a comic about this too. Basically, it's like snapshots of Clark growing up with Pa Kent. It's a focus on the relationship between Pa Kent and Clark. It's in black and white ink with only blue and red. So it shows the blanket in red, and then he's in blue, and the words, "I love you, I'm proud of you." And it shows him, Clark, growing up. He's playing baseball the first time. He's in school. He's graduating. And then it shows Pa Kent's grave. He passes away. And then Superman applying what he learns from Pa Kent, where he's like helping people at a hospital. He's helping save people. Like he does in this movie where he saves like the squirrels. He's like rescuing people from like burning buildings and shit like that. And in the end, he is in space looking at Earth, and the Earth is all blue and his cape is all red. And then he just says, "I love you. I'm proud of you." And it's such a beauty. And that comic too really encapsulates everything that also Pa Kent in this encapsulates. His kindness rubs off so much on like how Clark views the world.
Exactly. And it goes back to what you were saying, where the beauty of Superman is he landed and the Kents took him in. And if it wasn't for the Kents, he maybe wouldn't be who he is. But he had just such loving, caring, good parents that he was able to become so much. He took that to heart. And I think that's actually where, like, the plot twist of who Jor-El and Lana, I don't remember his mother's name, like being actually evil comes in, and Pa Kent gets to be like, you can be your own man. You don't have to be this because his parents, raised him. And it is what you were saying, where he is more human in this one than Kryptonian, but he
I
uses
will
that
say it.
humanity so well.
He does. The humanity message is done so well here, and I feel kind of like a picky little asshole to point it out. With the immigrant narrative, I feel like I don't like when there is a demon when they are shown as evil. I don't like it when they're eugenicists either. I don't like it when I especially don't like when they're a eugenicist and we don't acknowledge that that's bad. But I don't think it makes sense for the immigrant narrative to also villainize where he comes from.
I would get, and if they leaned heavier into that immigrant narrative, I think I'd have more of a problem with it. But this being a whole
They
narrative,
don't really.
this being
Yeah,
a
they
whole
don't
narrative of
really.
being kind in spite of everything, I think that quite
That is
works
kind of the
with
main
this.
point of
Yes.
this. I will say also the moment where the Jarhanpurian kid holds up the flag and he starts I'm gonna start tearing up
It's a good moment.
When he starts calling out for Superman. I always cry a little bit when I see that scene, even in the trailers. I don't know what it
It's
is.
hope.
It just always makes me tear up.
We all need
It
hope.
is just pure hope.
Let's summarize David Cornswith's Superman. What do we feel?
I love this. This is my Superman.
They didn't make it a power fantasy. It's not like, I'm just so strong and handsome. No, they gave him stripe of like, man, sometimes it is really hard to do the right thing. This is the time everyone's been waiting for. Ashton,
Yeah.
give me your ranking for the 3 Supermen we talked about today.
At the bottom we have Cavill. I'm sorry, you just didn't make the cut. Second, oh, this is hard. They're both so good. I gotta say Reeve Van Cornsweat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This movie made me cry.
Number 3 is Cavill. And like, again, there's a world where he's a great Superman. And it's just the writing kind of failed. My favorite Superman, it's Christopher Reeve. It is. David Cornswit is an amazing contender to that. I think Cornswit is the second greatest Superman of all time, including the ones we didn't talk about, and I will say, including a lot of the vocal performances that I also love. Like, I grew up watching Justice League Unlimited. Christopher Reeve, to me, is just such the blueprint, and he's so kind. And it's the fact that Christopher Reeve himself is kind of Superman was Superman in real life. This ranking
Yeah.
we're not doing it without bias. We're doing it only with bias.
I completely acknowledge my ranking is just completely
It
biased.
is.
I was like, this is just my stupid little ranking.
But the fact,
there's no way I could objectively do this. We'd be here all day.
I'm kind of glad that we have different favorite Supermen. I'm happy about that.
I'm happy about it too.
By the way,
it's just that movie makes me cry.
It's
I can't
great.
not say him.
And 100% fair. There is no one I will like. There's no way I could look at someone saying David Cornswit's their favorite Superman and be like, that's dumb. No. I'd say that about Dean Cain's, but So, we are ranking Superman, but I was a little dishonest about who my favorite Superman actually is.
Who is it?
My favorite Superman is the Iron Giant. That movie
He does save like
rips a hole in my heart. So our pledge is we're going to watch the Iron Giant. And this is also the first time that anyone watching at home that watches our podcast consistently and in a row, like you should, they know what's coming next week for the first time.
Yeah.
Because we said it last week. We are going to finish up our Toy Story series.
Yeah. Here we are.
Oh, God. We are going to talk about some emotions next week. Hey, Ashton, thanks for hanging out, talking about some Supermen with me. You've been a Superman yourself.
It's been a vibe.
Perhaps too many. I've been KJ Collelo.
Ashton Byrne.
Bella ciao, y'all.